Good afternoon, everybody. Today we're going to do a comparison of a few different ones. Two of mine and a FuzzRite. This one here is a FuzzRite. Can't really see the volume control. Let me slide it out. The volume control is set around here. Stratocaster, Squire, Yamaha 3112 solid state amp. I do have the bass turned up to about 8 on this today just because it's such a tinny guitar and the amp is not exactly a bassy amp either. So we'll start off with the FuzzRite here. Now the FuzzRite only has these two knobs, volume and depth, which is the fuzz. The Fizz fuzzes have a similar circuit topology. So the volume and the depth on the FuzzRite is a depth on these as well. Starting with the FuzzRite, this has two knobs. Then the Fizz Fuzz, the original one, adds this Fizz knob, which biases the first transistor, and I'll show you that in a minute. And then after this, so I came up with this without these switches. It was just called the Deluxe without the plus plus on it. Plus plus is for the two switches. So the Deluxe, what it does is add this tone control, which is fixed on this and it's fixed on this. And this also has a fixed bias. It doesn't have the Fizz control. So this, even the old version of the Deluxe without the switches had this extra tone, and it had the Fizz to it also. When people bought this, they said, oh, it needs more bass, so I added the tone control. And then, even after that, they said it'd be nice if I could add even more bass, so I added these two switches. And the Creator here, Creator, is just like the Deluxe, except it adds a second bias control for transistor 2 instead of the tone control, and it moves the tone control down here. So this and this are the same, these two. And it also has an extra switch for a high gain on Q1, and this just switches the tone control in and out. And this is one of those things, maybe some of the future ones won't have this switch. It's a little bit redundant, but it's still handy. So here's a FuzzRite. Here's a Fizz Fuzz with the Fizz control. Here's a Fizz Fuzz Deluxe with the Fizz and the tone control and the two switches. Here's a Fizz Fuzz Creator with two fizzes, the tone control, two switches, and an extra gain for the first transistor. So that's the difference between these. So I'm going to start off with this. And you hear there was a little hum coming in. It's just, you know, I have a single coil guitar. It's going to make some noise. And as a matter of fact, actually, see, I'm holding the guitar up to the cell phone. You hear that noise? So from time to time I'll get a customer say, oh, this fuzz is unusable. It makes too much noise. I'm hearing the radio. I'm hearing the, you know, all kinds of interference. Well, you know, sometimes, you know, if you have a radio station next door, your guitar's just going to pick it up. There's not much you can do. You can try to buy a ferrite core to put on your input. Well, my input's over here. To have a ferrite bead you can put over there that supposedly gets rid of radio. The problem is with the fuzzes is there's amplification. So everything that your guitar hears, the fuzz amplifies it, you know, 10 times or whatever audibly. So if there's anything going on, if you're picking up anything at all through your guitar, it's going to come out, you know, 10 times or more higher in the fuzz. So again, I'm going to hold this up to the phone. You hear that? Now I'm going to turn off the fuzz, bypass it. Hear the difference? See, this noise is still here. my first pickup's right next to this phone. Now I'm going to turn the FuzzRite on again. Okay. So if you're one of those that says my fuzz is noisy, that was the FuzzRite making all that noise, and mine does the same. And even now I'm going to walk over to the laptop computer over here and hold my guitar up to it. I'm holding it right over the keyboard now. Okay. So you got to stay away from electronic equipment. And now I'll walk over to the, let me shut this off and I'll walk over to the keyboard again. It's not quite as loud, you still hear it. So that's that. So you can't really see it probably, but the volumes are about here and the depth is about here on this. Do an open A string and work through this. Right now we're at 12 o'clock. Now we're all the way down at 0, at 7 o'clock or whatever. That was the A pentatonic scale at the 5th fret. Open A. FuzzRite does have a lot of output. This Fuzz doesn't have quite as much. This is set up the same way as this now. Get that over there. But now we can play with the fizz on here, which is the bias. This tone where it's set here should be the same as this is permanently set at, with the tones right like that. We can fatten this up a little. Max out the depth. Get the mixed depth. So definitely the FuzzRite is has a little bit of chunkiness to it, or it's a little thicker sounding. I think mine's brighter and it sounds a little thinner. So now we'll get into, we already got into the fizz control. When it's all the way down here at max, it gets square wavy. So you can see why I added that first as my, that's a lot of bang for the buck adding the fizz control. And by the way, the newer ones have the depth and fizz reversed, just because it makes more sense when you put these tone switches in. The first transistor tone switch and the second transistor tone switch right next to the depth knob, and the depth switches between the two transistors, basically like a balance control. A lot of bang for the buck with the fizz control. Now, tone control. Thickens it right up. Also increases the volume. like I said, once I got some feedback from customers, they said, yeah, this Deluxe is great. It's got the tone control, fattens it up a little bit. The original one over here that I made is equivalent to having the tone set right where it is there. I've made a little mark on it. I don't know if you can hear that kind of thing in the low end. This sounds like here the low end's missing, and you hear that on the setting in here on the FuzzRite too. So the tone control kind of fixes that. Ready? Listen now. Okay, we covered all the controls except for the switches. So now the switches, I've done other videos on this, but I'll cover it again. Now the depth is set to Q1. See how that fattens it up? And the effect is gone by the time you get over to Q2. So that works on the blend. And then you can fatten up. So then it becomes more of a distortion kind of effect, because when you mess with these tone capacitors, it affects how the fuzz sounds. Another thing you can do is tighten up the tone, but still leave this fat down here. You get this like sound. Roll off the volume a little. We'll put the volume back up. You can go even more into that starved kind of sound, or whatever you want to call it. So that's the Deluxe. The Creator can do everything the Deluxe does. And remember, where the tone control is on the Deluxe, on the Creator, that's the second bias. So when the Creator's set like this, with this switch down and this Fizz 2 on minimum, it's exactly the same setup as this, as the Deluxe. Tone over there. And the difference is the tone is switchable. The tone knob is switchable on this one if you want to just take it out real quick. So the Fizz Q2, not a huge effect, it kind of cleans it up as it goes along, gives it more volume. What it's doing is giving it more volume, it's changing the bias, giving it more volume, but also cleaning up the signal, it's less squished. And now here's the high gain for Q1, and a factory setting for a germanium one, even though this is silicone. For Q1 would be like this if it was high gained. Add some more. Take the tone knob, which is called bonk on this one, take it out by flipping the switch down. Now the tone knob doesn't do anything. Now when it's in high gain mode, it doesn't get all squashed when you put the Fizz up because it's a totally different biasing. So, in my opinion, this gain and this control here are nice to have if you want to have something a little extra to play with. But Deluxe Plus Plus has, to me, all the essentials. You can get very close to the extremes of what this can do just with this here.